Leon Kennedy and Claire Redfield drove cautiously through the ruined streets of Raccoon City, their car weaving between stalled vehicles and smoldered debris. Every corner revealed more devastation: smashed storefronts, overturned trucks. The city felt utterly abandoned. A faint broadcast crackled over the nearby loudspeaker, a looming emergency message urging any remaining civilians to make their way to the Raccoon police station for shelter. It was the first hint of direction in a city swallowed by chaos. Leon turned the car towards the station, but the road quickly collapsed into a dead end. Forced to stop, he and Claire realized they would need to continue on foot. Before they could act, the undead swarmed the vehicle, rocking the car violently under their weight. Their escape was cut off again by a new threat. An injured truck driver, barely conscious, came barreling towards them, his tanker truck completely out of control. At the last moment, his fading reflexes caused the vehicle to swerve, nearly avoiding a direct collision with the car. Metal screamed against metal as the truck veered off the road and crashed. Leon and Claire scrambled out just seconds before the squad car caught fire, flames spreading across the pavement, climbing towards the tanker's leaking fuel. A massive explosion erupted, sending a wall of heat and debris skyward. When the smoke cleared, the burning wreckage of the tanker split the street in two. Separated by the inferno, Leon and Claire exchanged one last confirmation of each other's safety. With no way to reunite, they turned in opposite directions, each making their own desperate journey towards the police station. Leon arrived at the front steps of the police station. Moments after stepping inside, a desperate cry echoed from a nearby corridor. Investigating it, Leon found Officer Elliot Edward beneath a half-lowered shutter, reaching out for help. Leon rushed to assist, pulling with all his strength, but Elliot suddenly thrashed in agony. Something on the other side was dragging him backward. His body was torn apart beneath the metal barrier, leaving Leon helpless to intervene. Lieutenant Marvin Brana intervened before Leon could spiral into panic. He was the last remaining officer in the station, the lone survivor of what had been once a coordinated defense. Marvin explained the situation. The R.P.D had attempted to escape through a hidden passageway beneath the building. He entrusted the task of unlocking it to the newcomer. Leon set off towards the east wing, navigating bloodstained halls, flickering lights, and the groans of the undead. As he moved through the upper floor, the station trembled with a sudden roar of an engine. A police helicopter plummeted from the sky, crashing directly into the second floor corridor. On the ground outside, Claire called out through the smoke. They exchanged brief words, reassured only by the knowledge they were both alive. But the locked security gate kept them apart, while zombies closed in from behind, forcing them to retreat and survive on their own. Once Leon collected all the medallions, the statue shifted aside to reveal a descent to the depths of the station. Marvin appeared again. His breathing had grown ragged, his skin paler. The infection was clearly spreading. He refused to accompany Leon, knowing what had awaited his fate. He closed the passage door behind the survivor, leaving himself to the doomed station above. In the depths beneath the Raccoon police station, the atmosphere shifted from urban ruin to industrial dread. Concrete tunnels wound downward into the forgotten infrastructure. It was here that Leon discovered what remained of Dr. William Birkin. Once a brilliant scientist, Birkin had become something wholly unrecognizable. His body, part human, part monstrous, lurched from the darkness, the G-virus twisting him into a grotesque form. A massive claw protruding from his mutated arm, an exposed eye bulging from his shoulder. His movements were driven by instinct rather than memory. Leon fought him through the catwalks and maintenance bays, until he finally collapsed into the flames and smoke below. Claire, meanwhile, intercepted a child named Sherry Birkin. The two formed a bond in the suffocating tunnels and returned to the police station together. However, Police Chief Brian Irons intercepted them. He seized Sherry and dragged her away towards the Raccoon City orphanage, a facility deeply tied to Umbrella's covert operations. Later, Irons contacted Claire, demanding Sherry's locket with a frantic insistence, hinting at something inside the pendant he desperately needed but would not explain. Claire rushed to the orphanage, navigating streets overrun by infected creatures and increasing tremors caused by Umbrella's destabilizing infrastructure. Inside the orphanage's halls, once filled with children's laughter, she found only silence. Eventually, she discovered Irons collapsed on the floor of his office, Claire retrieved Sherry and hurried through the latch, leading out of the office. But safety remained distant. A tyrant emerged, his heavy footsteps shaking the orphanage as it relentlessly pursued them. The two fled down the passageway into a service elevator, just as the tyrant approached them. Right before he could strike, Birkin returned. His claws erupted through the metal frame, impaling the tyrant. The elevator plummeted. Claire and Sherry survived the fall, landing within the sprawling network of the sewers beneath the city. There they encountered Dr. Annette Birkin, Sherry's mother. She led Sherry away, insisting the girl needed protection from threats Claire could not understand. Later the truth surfaced. Sherry collapsed, trembling. The G-virus had taken hold of her. Her father Birkin had implanted the G-virus in her. The infection was spreading through her small body, and time was running out. Leon finally emerged from the underground tunnels. It was there in the dim corridors beneath the police station that he encountered Ada Wong for the first time. A woman whose calm detachment and cold professional demeanor contrasted sharply with the chaos around them. She showed little respect for his authority as an officer. Her priorities were her own, and Leon quickly understood she wasn't interested in cooperation. He had more success with Ben Bertolucci, a journalist held in the R.P.D's makeshift holding arena. Ben attempted to explain the larger conspiracy behind the outbreak, Umbrella's influence, Chief Iron's corruption. Yet Leon struggled to accept the implications. The idea that a superior might be evolved seemed unthinkable. Before Ben could reveal more, the cell block shook. The towering tyrant from before, the same kind of tyrant that chased Claire through the orphanage's basement, tore through the holding arena and executed Ben. Power had been cut to the cell doors, and Ben died trapped behind them. Leon retrieved the keycard around Ben's neck. He used the keycard to escape the garage by lifting the metal grate covering the entrance. But just as he was about to get to the door, the tyrant grabbed him from behind, choking him slowly as he struggled to get away. Ada intervened. She rimmed the tyrant with a police van, buying Leon seconds of time and crippling the creature. With her original contact now dead, she reconsidered Leon's role in the mission. She claimed to be an FBI agent, hunting Dr. Annette Birkin, whom she believed responsible for the outbreak. Leon, desperate for answers and direction, followed her. The two entered the sewers and met a giant mutated alligator. The creature surged through the water tunnels. Leon narrowly avoided its lunges, drawing it to his trap and triggering an explosion that obliterated the creature's head in a spray of water and gore. Eventually he caught up to Ada. Annette Birkin ambushed the pair. A gunshot dropped Leon onto the concrete, blood spreading beneath him. Ada pursued Annette into the depths of the sewer complex, only to be caught in an automated incendiary trap that nearly burnt her alive. When Ada almost caught up to her, Ada was hit from the bridge and was impaled on the leg by a rebar, leaving her wounded and alone. Later, Leon Kennedy awoke and went to go look for Ada, finding her impaled. He took her aboard a tram, and the two headed into Nest. At the same time, Claire Redfield was treating Sherry and Nest. She needed a cure, but the massive facility stretched out like a labyrinth of steel and white light. Claire searched for anything, any hope that Nest still held for them. Eventually, Claire reached the west area, where Umbrella secured its most volatile mutations. This is where Claire discovered the security room overlooking the complex. She operated the medical systems, preparing the devil vaccine. The procedure demanded surgical removal of Sherry's infected cells. There was no such time for a procedure. The vaccine could only halt the mutation, not cure it. Leon, however, encountered Birkin's G3 form. Gone was the man that Sherry once knew. Who stood in the place was an evolving mass of muscles, eyes, and bone, driven only by instinct and unrelentless hunger. The confrontation tore the wing apart, leaving fire and ruin in its wake. After defeating Birkin once again, Leon secured the G-virus sample. That's when Annette told him the truth about Ada, that she didn't work with the FBI. After which he confronted Ada about the truth. Her story as the FBI agent unraveled under scrutiny. The details wrong. Realization settled like ice in his chest. She was here to steal the virus. She always had been. Cornered by his discovery and trapped between her mission and her feelings, Ada raised her weapon. She had no intention of leaving Nest empty-handed, but Annette intervened once more, A single shot sent Ada over the railing, and she plummeted into the depths below, vanishing into the shadows of the facility. Bernadette dying, Ada gone, and Sherry hanging out only by the thinnest thread of hope. The facility entered self-destruct. Leon and Claire had no choice but to flee. Nest's alarms wailed through the corridors, signaling the final collapse of Umbrella's hidden empire. Claire and Sherry descended down the central elevator into the underground train yard, buried deep beneath the nest. Once at the bottom, they pushed forward towards a maintenance corridor. Sherry was weakened, but conscious after the vaccine's effects began to stabilize her. At the end of the passageway, they found an escape train. Its engines hummed softly as it awaited departure. But before they could leave, the platform shuddered violently. A monstrous shape descended upon them. William Birkin, now in his fourth form, dropped onto the platform. His body grotesquely transformed, beyond anything resembling the man he once was. Limbs stretched into serrated talons, eyes blinked across his shifting mass, and a guttural roar shook the entire chamber. Claire stood between Birkin and Sherry, fighting desperately to keep the creature back long enough for them to board. Battle drove Claire to the very edge of the platform, before she finally brought down the creature, its immense weight shaking the structure. With no time to spare, Claire hurried Sherry into the train, and together they prepared for departure. Elsewhere, Leon arrived via cargo lift, exhausted, yet still pushing forward. But he wasn't alone. The T-00, no longer the silent pursuer he had known. Its body had mutated under the viral stress of Nest's destruction. Emerging as a towering super tyrant, its exposed muscles steaming in the heat, and its heart visibly pulsing outside his chest. It moved towards Leon. He braced himself, knowing he had no weapon capable of stopping it. Then from the shadows above, something fell. A metal cylinder crashed onto the platform. A rocket launcher. Ada Wong had threw it down to him. Empowered by this final, unexpected intervention, Leon seized the launcher and aimed it at the advancing monster. The super tyrant closed the distance with terrifying speed, but Leon fired first, engulfing the creature in a blinding explosion. The blast tore it apart, hurling burning fragments of flesh across the platform. With only moments remaining before Nest collapsed entirely, Leon sprinted towards the escape train, towards the same train Claire and Sherry were on. He barely managed to catch up and boarded the train. As the train raced through the collapsing tunnels, the survivors could feel the heat of destruction behind them. However, a familiar face was still sticking to them. William Birkin, having endured repeated defeats and catastrophic wounds, no longer resembled anything human. The G-virus, unchecked and ravenous, had driven him into another metamorphosis. To sustain himself, he dragged in whatever bodies he could reach along the collapsing platforms, absorbing flesh and bone into his own mutating mass. What emerged was his fifth form, a pulsing mound of eyes, teeth, and sinew. All he was now was a creature that wanted to consume, to replicate. He was drawn by the scent of the survivors. He hurled himself into the rear car of the train. Metal buckled beneath its weight. Screams of twisted steel echoed through the tunnel as a shapeless abomination dragged itself forward, forcing its swelling bulk through the doorway and into the car. They faced the creature in the confined space of the train car. There was no room to maneuver, nor to flee. Only an unending wall of flesh advancing inch by inch. A decision was made quickly, to detach the final car. As the coupling snapped apart, the doomed carriage began to follow behind, dragging Birkin with it. Firestorm winds began surging through the tunnel, as Nest destruction overtook the severed compartment. The shapeless thing thrashing and roared in mindless fury, eyes flickering across his melting form before explosion consumed it entirely. At last, William Birkin was gone. The surviving car slowed as the automated systems engaged, eventually grinding to a halt on the far side of the tunnel. When the train doors opened, the three stepped out into the weak morning light, into the plains beyond Raccoon City, putting distance between themselves and the city that had become a grave.